Hey guys, Logan here from the Spalty Dog. So today I'm going to be making a full swivel mobile base for my table saw. So stick around and I'll show you how I did it.
Recently I had purchased a few tools off a guy who was selling his entire shop, one of which was this Jet Pro Shop table saw. Now, it did come with a mobile base, however the base had two fixed wheels on the back side. For most, this wouldn't be an issue. However, for me needing to pull the saw out from the wall and turn it 90 degrees made this base not easily usable in my shop. I have limited space and had to push the saw back and forth numerous times just to get it into position. Looking around online, I was surprised to see that there weren't many options out there that offered all swivel wheels. Now, I had already ran into this issue when I decided to purchase a new Powermatic 8-inch joiner, so I took the same design I used for that and simply scaled it down to fit the size of my saw. To start off, I began cutting my material to size using my angle grinder and a cutoff wheel. I purchased all this steel from a local supplier and got these pieces from their remnant section at a discounted price. If you're interested in building something similar, I would recommend seeing if you have a local steel supplier near you. They are usually more affordable and offer a wider selection than most big box stores. When cutting the tubing, I first mark and score a line, then go back over the line I just made to complete the cut. This helps establish a groove for the cutoff wheel to sit in, resulting in a cleaner cut. I then repeat this process for all four sides until I have my desired piece. It's important to note, you don't have to be extremely accurate at this point because we can correct any errors during assembly. After I have all four sides of the frame cut, I do a quick dry assembly while checking for square, and then measuring how long my cross supports need to be so they can be cut to length. I needed two supports for this base, so I lined up two pieces of flat bar on end, clamped them together, and cut them to length to ensure that they were the same. However, again, you don't need to be extremely accurate at this point since we can correct any errors later on. With all the pieces cut to length, I switch over to a flap disc on my angle grinder and put a 45-degree chamfer on all sides. This will give the weld a place to sit when we assemble the base. With all our pieces cut and prepped, we're ready to start assembly. I begin by arranging the sides of the base and checking for square. Then, I move on to tack welding the inside corners. This will keep the frame in place while not producing too much heat. Once I've tacked all four corners, I check for square again to see if any adjustments are needed. With the base all squared up, I continue by running full beads along the outside of the frame, then follow up by moving to the inside. I then flip over the frame to line up the cross supports, checking that they are square and welding them in place. With the frame assembled, it's time to move on to the feet. To start off, I position a spacer, tack it in place, and then run full beads along each of the sides. This will allow the base to maintain a lower profile and stay close to the ground. With the spacer set, I clamp the foot to it using a pair of vice grips while I tack it in place. I then remove the vice grips and run full beads on all sides, repeating this process for each foot. Now that the feet are assembled, the last thing to do is attach the casters. I went with all steel locking casters that are rated for heavier loads. I position the casters on each foot, making sure there's enough room for them to fully rotate. Then, I tack each caster into place and spot weld it for a permanent hold. Now we could stop here, however I wanted to make it look more professional. With the base fully assembled, I moved to grinding down all my welds with a flap disc. Here, I'm mixing up an automotive body filler to apply to all of my welds. This should fill any small pinholes that may have appeared after grinding. This isn't necessary, however it's something I prefer to do to get a more seamless finish. After giving the body filler time to dry, I come back with my random orbit sander to remove any excess filler. I then clean the base of any oils or dust by wiping it down with denatured alcohol. Alright, now we're ready to start finishing. First, I masked off each of the casters with tape and went over the entire base with a self-etching primer, making sure to apply multiple thin coats. I let the primer dry, then came back and applied multiple thin coats of black spray paint to finish it off. There it is, a full swivel mobile base that should be able to hold just about any tool you throw at it.
Alright guys, so I think that's going to wrap up the build for today. So thank you again for watching, and if this is something you'd be interested in making for yourself, I do have a detailed article over on my website which I link to down in the description. Now I know that this video focused a lot on welding and metalworking, however the content that I plan to put out moving forward will be more so focused on woodworking, specifically furniture making. So if this is something that interests you or you'd like to see more of, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I really think you're going to enjoy some of the projects that I have planned. So again, thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one, guys.